Welcome back to our course, Conquer Procrastination. Now that you've identified the areas where you procrastinate and why you procrastinate on them, let's look at how to take that new awareness and understanding and put it to use. Again, make sure you've downloaded the follow-along guide I provided you for this course. In this module, I'm going to give you an extensive menu of proven tactics to reduce procrastination. Some will make more sense for some types of procrastination. Some could work for any delay issues. It's really up to you to figure out what works for you and for the specific task. The first remedy for procrastination is to let it go. If the task you're procrastinating on is simply not necessary, then it's going to be very hard for you to get it done. And why should you? For example, let's say you keep procrastinating on cleaning up your desk. Maybe this task got onto your mental to-do list because your sister made a comment about your messy desk last time she was over. But the truth is that a messy desk is not affecting your work and you can find everything just fine. Cleaning up your desk does not need to be a priority, so cross this task off your list. Sometimes a task must get done, but it's not critical for you to be the one to do it. So if you find out you've been sweating something and you can't cross it off your list, ask yourself if there's an easier solution. Can you outsource or delegate a tedious task? Let's say you're procrastinating on making a dessert for a potluck party. So, the truth is you hate baking. So you decide to buy a pie from the local bakery. If someone judges you, who cares? Let's say you can't cross a task off your list and you can't outsource or delegate it. It is important to you, it has to get done, and you're the one who has to do it. What now? Find a way to make it fun. How do you do that? The idea is to pair dreaded tasks with pleasant rewards. Here are some examples. Do your paperwork while sipping a special coffee. Clean your home while blasting your favorite music. Organize your closet while listening to a favorite podcast. You're pairing a chore with something you enjoy. This concept is called temptation bundling. It works especially well if you only allow yourself your guilty pleasure if you're completing a tedious task at the same time. For example, you only get to watch that silly reality TV show you love while walking on the treadmill. If there's a chore that would be hard to pair with something fun in real time, maybe one that needs your complete concentration, then make the fun activity the reward after the task is done. For example, reward yourself with a pedicure only after completing 1 month of daily meditations. Allow yourself to enjoy a glass of wine only after you finish updating your resume. Another idea is to automate the behavior by creating rules for yourself. When X happens, I will do Y. For example, when there are stairs, I will take them. When I see the dessert menu, I will order only coffee. When I reach for the toothpaste, I will get out the floss and floss first. These are known as implementation intentions and are meant to remove the conscious effort of decision-making. They are a great way to make new behaviors automatic and form new habits. For those of us who procrastinate because we're perfectionists who worry the outcome of the task will be a failure or substandard, it will be critical to adopt more realistic expectations and make it good enough. Can you give yourself permission to do a merely adequate job? After all, most of the time, adequate is all that's needed. Try looking back at the last tasks you completed adequately, but not perfectly. Wasn't that good enough? Chances are you're already working to a high standard, so stop giving yourself a hard time. Identifying times when you didn't do the perfect job, but the consequences were the same as if you did, will help you to overcome your perfectionist routine and stop procrastinating. For example, do you have a tendency to read and reread emails before sending them? Allow yourself one read through and then press send. Did you miss a workout on your month-long fitness goal? Don't throw in the towel. Start again the next day. Are you getting stuck in the research phase of your business idea? Give yourself a deadline to stop researching and get going on to the next step. One way to stop procrastinating is to find meaning in the task you've been avoiding. Maybe it's about how completing this task will have a positive impact on your personal growth or your happiness, like joining Toastmasters to tackle your fear of public speaking. Maybe it's about how completing a difficult task that will end up benefiting others, like saving money to treat your family to a special vacation. In either case, getting clear on your why for the task can help you get more connected to the task and stop putting it off. If the reason you're procrastinating is due to anxiety, fear, or a lack of self-confidence, you may need to talk back to yourself. You're likely hearing your inner critic telling you all the reasons why you'll fail or be judged when you go after a more challenging or brave task that's out of your comfort zone. How can you talk back to that critical voice and take a step forward despite your fears? How would you talk to a friend in your situation who expressed her own anxiety? My bet is you'd reassure her and encourage her. So why not do the same for yourself? It's all about self-compassion. Let's say you're procrastinating on launching your business idea because you're worried your business will fail. What could you say to talk back? Maybe, I've been wanting to do this for years and I've got a solid plan to grow my business. Or, I owe it to myself to give it my best shot. Or, I'm going to take the first step right now. When self-confidence is an issue, especially if it's not grounded in reality, one way to combat the resulting procrastination is to act as if. The idea is to embody the person you want to be, despite the critical voices from inside or outside that might be telling you that you cannot do something or you cannot be a certain kind of person. Expert on self-esteem, Dr. Nathaniel Branden, calls your self-esteem the reputation you have with yourself. You build it up or tear it down with everything you do or don't do. The more you act as if you can do something, the more you come to believe you really can. It's the ultimate tool to build your confidence. Show yourself you can begin and then keep going. When you're procrastinating from overwhelm, one proven way to tackle a task is to break it down. Take your focus off the huge task by breaking it into smaller, more manageable, less scary bites. The idea is to tackle one small task, one step at a time until it's done. This is much easier than looking at the entire task, and it works in all areas of life. Want to learn how to play the cello? Commit to practicing 10 minutes a day. Do you need to complete 6 months' worth of expense reports? Submit one a day. Want to save more money? Think of one small expense you can give up each day. One of the ways we avoid a task is by getting busy with less important tasks. In that case, you'll want to do the priority task first. Brian Tracy, author of a book on procrastination called Eat That Frog, bases his title on Mark Twain. He explains that Twain once said, "If the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that that is the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long." Your frog is your biggest, most important task, the one you're likely to procrastinate on if you don't do something about it. It's also the one task that can have the greatest positive impact on your life at the moment. Tracy advises we begin each day by tackling the biggest, hardest, most important task first. If you do this over and over again, day after day, it will become a habit. Now, for a few of you, crossing some lesser tasks off your to-do list may help you feel accomplished and give you the momentum you need to tackle a more important task. You'll want to test this out and see if that's what works for you. But if you find that you're using this as a stalling tactic, then choose to eat that frog and do the important task first. If getting started is the hardest part, then lessen the pressure by committing to start small. Tim Pischel has done fascinating work looking at procrastinators via brain imaging. He's shown that procrastinators feel a lot of stress when they delay a task, but the moment they begin on that task, the stress goes away. The pain is actually in the anticipation of beginning, not in the actual beginning. So start, but make it less scary by starting small. Choose to do the task for a defined time period, say 10 minutes. Set a timer, and at the end of the 10 minutes, decide if you wish to continue or if you'll stop. In many cases, you're likely to keep going. Don't feel like running? Commit to 10 minutes. Don't want to do your taxes? Commit to 10 minutes. Don't want to write your blog post? Commit to 10 minutes. And if you're so overwhelmed that you need a break, make it a short, timed one. Take a brisk 10-minute walk in fresh air. Listen to a short guided meditation. Make yourself a cup of tea, then come right back to where you left off. Tell yourself you're taking a break. You are not procrastinating. When people put off a task, they often say, I'm too tired. Sometimes that's an excuse, but sometimes they really are too fried to begin a new task. So if you often feel too tired to tackle your priorities, take a look at how you're managing your energy. Most important, get enough sleep. For most of us, that'll mean 7 or 8 hours per night. Can you develop a routine to protect your sleep? It can be life-changing. And of course, eating right and exercising regularly are also key to ensuring you have the energy to tackle difficult tasks. You need to eat well to perform well, and exercise has been shown to boost your mood and sharpen your focus. Part of managing your energy is also knowing what times of the day you're at your best. When is your energy highest? For many of us, it's sometime in the morning, but for others, it's later in the day. Discipline yourself to tackle your most important and challenging tasks during that high energy time frame. Identify when you're most and least productive and schedule your tasks accordingly. And if you're working intensely at a task, be aware that most of us can only do this for a maximum of 90 minutes at a time. Recognize when you're beginning to lose focus and take a short breather. You could close your eyes for a brief meditation, take a walk around the block, or make yourself a snack, or even tackle a quick and easy item on your to-do list like clearing your desk. If you're worried you'll get caught up in some distraction, set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes, and when the time is up, come right back to your task. As I mentioned in Module 2, we are impulsive creatures wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And in today's world, pleasurable distractions are right in front of us all of the time. And once we interrupt our work, it's much harder to get started again. Here are some examples of common distractions: surfing the web, checking emails, scrolling social media, texting, watching TV or streaming shows, playing video games, answering and making phone calls, responding to people or pets in your home asking for attention or help. While it may be necessary to take care of some things that come up while we're working on a task, like walking the dog or answering a call from the doctor, there are many temptations that can wait. So how do we reduce these temptations? If you suspect you might be easy prey to these time stealers, small distractions that nibble away minutes and eventually hours from your days, then I suggest you keep a log for a few days. Know every time you're engaged in an important task and you stop to spend time on distractions that can wait, such as checking email or social media, answering the phone, getting up to make a snack, daydreaming. Then review your log and note any patterns. Are there distractions that seem to chew up a lot of your time or interrupt your flow on a regular basis? How can you curb that behavior? For example, can you allow yourself to check email only once every 2 hours, and even then only for 10 minutes? When it comes to interruptions by those who are physically around you, you'll want to do your best to train them to respect your boundaries. Set yourself up for no interruptions. For example, before you tackle a task you might be tempted to procrastinate on, make sure your dog has been walked and fed so he or she is not needing attention. Let others who live in your home with you know that when the door is closed to your office or workspace, that means no interruptions unless it's an emergency. You might even want to remind them by hanging a do not disturb sign or post-it note on the door. Don't automatically answer phone calls so that people will get used to you not being always available. For many of us, a lot of distractions will be more self-inflicted than related to people and pets in our homes. And my bet is most of those will have to do with technology. While it's true that technology can help us in many aspects of our lives, it's often also our biggest distraction. We're constantly connected to people, news, and games via our smartphones, laptops, and TVs. We often think it'll only take a minute and find that an hour later, we've gotten sucked into the vortex of the internet or a Netflix show. Sure, a lot of it is easy and fun, but it can become addictive. And a lot of what we do is a waste of time. Entertaining, sure, but not productive. And there's no turning back on modern life. Tech innovations will continue and provide yet more ways to procrastinate. So how do we reduce the time suck of technology when we need to focus on an important task? We can actually use technology to help us limit technology use. Let's get into some specifics. Here's how I suggest you develop good digital habits. Note that I provide recommendations for apps and software to help you form good digital habits in the follow-along guide that goes with this class. First, look at which distractions you can let go of. Are there apps or computer games you can delete? Can you limit your social media outlets to 1 or 2? Do you mostly watch your shows on TV and therefore you could remove Netflix and other viewing apps from your computer or cell phone? Are there email subscriptions you can remove? Second, for distractions you choose to keep, reduce the temptation. Mute chimes and visual notifications from email and all apps. Motivation and procrastination researcher Piers Steele claims this alone will make you 10% more productive. Log off your social media accounts every time you close them and disable automatic logins. For distracting accounts and apps, change your passwords to long, cumbersome ones to make you jump through hoops to access them. Limit access to your cell phone by putting it out of reach while you're working. If you're a compulsive message checker or texter, don't even leave your mobile in the same room. Unless you're waiting for news of earth-shattering importance like the birth of a grandchild or a status update on a critically ill relative, the world will not end without you checking your messages. And you'll be training people who don't respect your work hours that you really do have boundaries. It's also a good idea to protect your sleep by keeping your cell phone away from your bedroom or at least from your nightstand. This way you won't get sucked into email and social media at bedtime or first thing when you wake up. Finally, schedule your digital time. For email, schedule concrete periods of time during the day when you will check and respond to emails. And when you come across an email that you don't need or want, block the sender or mark it as junk. For entertaining screen time, set a timer for a predetermined limit, or use an app to limit your screen usage. Let's recap how to develop good digital habits which will help us stop procrastinating. 1, get rid of distractions. 2, reduce temptations. And 3, schedule your digital time. The time you choose to start on your task can also have an impact. Sometimes it's key to choose a date that provides a fresh start. Anything that provides a fresh start feeling can give us a boost. Studies have shown that we're more likely to start on a task on the first day of the week, the month, or the year, or on our birthdays. Research shows the bigger the transition, the bigger the effect. Now, you may be procrastinating because a task in front of you just seems too difficult. You don't know if you'll be able to do it or how to get started. In that case, you'll want to get help. This might mean doing research as your first step to better understand how to tackle the task. You might also get help from the experienced friend or colleague who can give you some tips and point you in the right direction. For example, you might want to launch a podcast, but you don't know the first thing about podcasting. You'll find many articles and videos online that can help school you on podcasting, so you might start there to get the basics. You may also have a friend who launched her own podcast a few years ago. Why not contact her to learn from her experience? And again, if you are too down or depressed to be able to move forward on the necessary tasks in life, then please do consider seeking the help of a mental health professional. Sometimes the key to stopping procrastination on an important task is to find some way to hold ourselves accountable. One simple way to do this is to set a deadline for yourself, then make that deadline public. Tell your friends, family, coworkers about the task and your due date. You might even want to post about it on social media. This public commitment can be a huge help in keeping you on track to meet your deadline. Do you know someone who's also eager to achieve a task or goal? Buddy up to encourage each other along the way. For example, let's say your friend also wants to brush up on her tennis. Schedule a weekly game. Do you have a few friends who all vow to declutter their homes? Set up a weekly time where you all connect on Zoom and spend an hour tidying. Cameras on, but you're not interacting, just working alongside one another. Sometimes a friend might have a different task in mind than yours, but also need help keeping her commitment. You can be accountability partners. You could agree to text her at the end of each day with a progress update on your particular task, and she could do the same for her task. For example, you could report the number of words you wrote on your novel, and she could tell you how many minutes she exercised. Even when your goals are totally unrelated, the accountability system works. For some of us, money could be a real motivator. Here's how this idea works. Decide on an amount of money you would be very uncomfortable losing. Give it to a trusted friend and tell them the task you're committing to complete and your deadline. If you don't hit the deadline, you don't get your money back. You could ask your friend to donate the money to a favorite cause. And for extra motivation, the instruction could be for your friend to donate the money to a cause you actually hate. That's tough. Let's recap how to add accountability to help beat procrastination. 1, make it public. 2, buddy up. 3, get an accountability partner. And 4, put your money where your mouth is. Wow, we've now gone through 18 ways to stop procrastinating. Here is your solution menu. You may have others in mind, and that's great. Feel free to add them. The key question is, what will work for your temperament, your blocks, your tasks? For your Module 3 assignment, you'll be learning how to tackle your procrastination tasks using the tactics I provided in this module's extensive menu. You'll find all the details in the follow-along guide that you downloaded for this course. If you think you're a hopeless procrastinator, take heart. No one is beyond help. Procrastination is a habit you can overcome, a muscle you can flex with practice. Will conquering procrastination be easy? No, there are no quick fixes. You've developed procrastination habits over decades, so you can't solve this overnight. But with specific strategies and diligent practice, you can tame chronic procrastination. Keep in mind, you're trying something new, something hard, and you're going to fall short at times. Expect this and show yourself compassion when you stumble. Then try again. That's what counts, keeping at it. Aim for slow, steady progress, one modest improvement at a time. And if your chosen solution hasn't improved things after a month, try something else. Show yourself you can do it, and your self-concept will change one day at a time. If you get slightly better each week, each month, you'll be amazed at how much improvement you'll see in the span of a year. And be sure to check the helpful resources on the last page of the follow-along guide that comes with this course. Here's to you conquering procrastination. You can do it. Until then, be well.